Hello everybody, this is Captain Cody from globalfishingreports.com. Today I'm going to show you how to tie these 7 knots. These are the 7 most important fishing knots. If you want to be a good fisherman, you got to know how to tie these knots. The first knot is a uni knot. The second knot is a double uni knot. The third knot is the Palomar knot. The fourth knot is a perfection loop. The fifth knot is a dropper loop. The sixth knot is a haywire twist. This is how you tie wire, good for shark rigs. Your 7th knot is how to tie wire to mono. This works really good on your daisy chains. You can add a piece of wire and you can catch barracuda, mackerel, sharks, and you don't have to worry about them getting cut off. Also works really good for wahoo. These are the 7 knots you must know to be a good fisherman. And if you want to work on the boat as a deckhand or a captain, you must know how to tie all these knots, and you must know how to tie them quickly. I'm going to show you guys how to tie all of these knots with this red parachute cord here. So here's the uni knot. Through here, enough tag end. You're going to wrap it 5 wraps. 5 wraps works for most. Sometimes with braid you'll do 6. If it's really heavy line you can do 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all we want. We just want 5. So you pull this tight, it'll slide down to the end. And there's your uni knot. All right, we have 2 ropes. We're going to tie them together with a double uni knot. This is most useful whenever you're tying mono to braid, but in this case we're just going to show you with this larger line. So what you do is you just run the ropes past each other quite a bit, and we're going to do just a 5-loop uni. So the line's doubled up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to pull this tight, pull it off the main line. So that knot is snug and ready to go. And now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So now we take the other end of our rope and we're going to do 5 loops again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to pull this tight. And these 2 knots are going to slide together. There's your double uni. And then we'll cut those tags off. And that's a great knot. One of the best knots to know how to do. Comes in handy all the time. All right, the Palomar knot. First thing you do is you double up your line. And we're going to run this doubled up line through the eye of the hook here. And then we're actually going to make a loop with this doubled up line. Pass it through that loop right there, and this is actually what you're going to run through your hook. This is just the end of the line that was doubled up. We're going to run this through the eye of the hook, and then we're going to pull it tight. And we're going to pull it tight nice and easy. Try and get that. Try and get this part to tighten up as well. In this case it's being difficult, so I'm going to kind of work it by hand to get it to go tight. There you go. That's your Palomar knot. I'm going to try and set it so we can see that it's doubled up. There we go. With this Palomar knot, the line strength is doubled up here, so it's actually your strongest knot for that reason. All right, perfection loop, here we go. What you do is you start with a loop, you bring it around, back through, and then you grab that end and pull it through here. And that is your perfection loop. All right, a dropper loop. So pretend this is a weight and you want to tie a second hook above the weight. What you do is you start out with a loop. Now these two lines here at the bottom, we're actually going to weave these in and out of each other 4 times. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to take this main line and put it through this hole here. We'll put it through this hole, and then you pull from this top part. Normally you'll bite it, or you'll actually cleat it off to a boat. Then you pull these two lines together to squeeze this together as you're pulling up on this knot here. This is the strongest way to make a dropper loop. Just like so. Now that you got a loop in there, if you want to add a hook, it's actually really easy to add a hook. Put it around there, and now you got a dropper loop with a hook above your other hook. Next, I'm going to show you how to tie a haywire twist. I'm going to do so with a 124-pound number 10 wire, which I have right here. And I'm actually going to do so by quickly making a shark rig. This is just going to be a 3-foot shark rig. In reality, you're going to want to make the rig as long as the possible shark is that you're going to catch. This is how you tie a haywire twist. So what we'll do is we'll grab it and we'll pinch this wire together, like so. So you got these two together. Whenever you have these together, you're actually going to twist these together. You're not going to just wrap this one around and around this other wire. You're actually going to twist them together. That's why it's called a haywire twist. So that's 1 twist, 2, 3. So you just want to do 4 or 5 of these twists, twisting the line together, like so. And sometimes actually the heavier line, the better. Once you have a few twists in there, then you're gonna bend this till it's 90 degrees, and then you are gonna just wrap this wire around this other main wire. Here we go. And you want these to go closely as possible together. That's gonna make it easy whenever you're breaking it off at the end. The tighter those are. If you have a couple loose ones, as long as you tighten them up by the end, you're gonna be able to break this wire really easy. Doesn't really matter how many you do. You probably only need to do 2. But in this case, I wrapped it around there about 4 times. And now you don't want to just try and get a pliers and try and snip this. You want to just bend this back and forth to break it off, so that if you're ever leadering the fish, you don't get poked with that wire, because it'll actually really hurt. It's like getting poked with a needle. So to break it, you just bend this back and forth a couple times, and it should just break right off. There we go. There's your basic haywire twist. On the other end, you do the same thing, but in this case, we're going to use a swivel. You can't actually connect this directly to the main line, which I'll show you. So you can tie wire to monofilament with an Albright, and I'll show you that in a little bit. So in this case, we're just going to tie a second haywire twist to this line. To do so, hold the swivel in your right hand, bend it over with your left hand, and we're going to just twist these together. Basically, I actually try and pinch that loop with this finger. I don't worry so much about what the swivel's doing. And then I twist it together, 1, wrap it around a couple times. Now that I have this twisted around a couple times, I'm just gonna bend this vertical, and I'm gonna start wrapping it this way. Couple more wraps. Now you can see we got about 4 wraps. Now I'm just going to bend this back and forth to break it off. There we go. So there is your second haywire twist, your first haywire twist. Now we got a little mini shark rig, and we'll just wrap this up and save it for later. 1, 2, and there's your basic shark rig. But in reality, you want this to be about 3 feet longer. Now that we did a haywire twist on relatively large wire, I'm going to show you how to tie a haywire twist on relatively small wire. It's the same idea, but you just twist it slightly different. Now I'm going to show you how to tie a haywire twist with number 4 wire, which is 38-pound wire. And I'm going to do so just by tying on a small hook and a swivel. We'll start out, you should always do the swivel first, so we'll start out with the swivel. I actually only have these really big swivels, so that's what we're going to use. Same procedure as before, except for this time, I guess it is, it's pretty much the exact same way. You really want to make sure that you grab a hold of that with these fingers, and then you just do quick little turns. 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we have the twists in there. That looks perfect. So now we're going to bend this up to a 90, and we're going to wrap this 3 or 4 more times. See, there's a little bit of spacing between that first one. That's fine. As long as you get tight with the spacing, by the end, you're going to be able to break that off when you're bending it back and forth. I'm going to make sure I do get close enough to it. There we go. Now I'm going to bend that back and forth. I kept having a little too big a spacing in there, so I kept wrapping it. Now whenever I bend this back and forth, it should break right off. You can just keep working it back and forth. Some people will actually take this and spin it just to be a little bit faster, but especially if you're new, the best way to do it is just to keep bending it back and forth like that. So there we go. That's the one side with the swivel. And now we're going to do something similar on this side. We'll run our wire through the hook. And I always have the hook with my right hand, wire in the left. And we're going to take it, and again, I'm going to take that basic first loop and pinch it really close to that first loop. And then I'm going to start twisting it. Twisting it together, not wrapping the outside one around it. You actually want this to basically be in a V. Some people say 90 degrees apart. Might actually be a little bit less than 90. But as long as you're twisting these two together, that's the idea of a haywire twist. Now that we got about 5 loops in there, I'm going to take it and spin this one at 90 degrees. Probably only need to do it 2 or 3 times, but I'm just going to do it until I know I got those loops close together so that I can break it off. That should be good. I'm going to bend this back and forth. Bend that back and forth. Now you can tie that swivel onto some 30-pound braided line, some 30-pound monofilament line, and now you got a perfect size hook to put a little pilchard on, pitch it out there, and catch some mackerel. Catch a little shark. Catch a big shark. Catch a giant king mackerel. There we go. There's your second haywire twist. So we just made that haywire twist and we just tied a hook on it. Another great thing to do is to twist on a little jig. A little 1/32 out, 1/16, 1/8 ounce jig. That'll make it so that your bait gets down there a little bit deeper, anywhere from 5 to 30 feet off the bottom. And sometimes these actually catch more mackerel than the ones that are weightless. Especially if you're in a current, these will drift up on top and frickin' birds will grab your bait. So it's definitely a good idea to put a jig on this wire. All right guys, how to tie monofilament line to wire. The first thing you do is bend this wire. You bend this wire all the way over on itself. That's pretty good. That's what it's looking like. Just how this is shaped in a V, you do the same thing with your actual monofilament line, so it's doubled up. And then what you're going to do is you're going to just wrap this line around itself about 6 times. Around both sets of wire and through that bottom line. So we're just going to do 6 wraps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We actually haven't ran it through anything. All we've done is wrapped it around each other. And then last thing we're gonna do is put it through that wire loop down there. So we're gonna take this line and we're gonna push it through that wire loop. Push it through that wire loop, and now we're gonna pull it tight from here. And all this is gonna come together. That's actually called an Albright knot. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then once you do that, you're gonna put the end through the wire. It's the only time you actually run your monoline through anything. Other than that, we've just been wrapping things around each other. So we're gonna put this end through here, like so. And then we're just gonna pull tight on our main line here, and this is all gonna pinch together nice. This is actually an Albright knot, just like so. And that's how you connect monofilament line to wire line. You use this for daisy chains so that you can run a trail hook there with a nice fluorocarbon daisy chain to catch wahoo, barracuda, king mackerel, Sierra mackerel. You can also use it to tie really thin wire whenever you are fishing for mackerel. And if you're using thin enough wire, you can still catch yellowtail, bonita, blackfin tuna. So it just hides a swivel. If I'm just fishing by myself, I'll always tie this rather than a swivel. If I have to run gear for a whole bunch of people, I'll usually just tie a swivel to connect the wire with a haywire twist, and then just tie a knot onto the monofilament. But this is a sleeker way to do it, and I definitely will use this whenever I am making daisy chains. Also, once this is done like this, you can also just basically make this a haywire twist. So you can pinch it together. And then just wrap this around like you would make a normal haywire twist. Then we'll break this off just by working it back and forth a couple times. There we go. So now we have this knot tie with a little mini haywire twist. That just makes it so there's not just some end pointing out here. You can actually just leave the end just pointing out here, but this is just a little bit of a cleaner way to do it. If you guys enjoyed that video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, subscribe to my channel. If you click the notification bell, you'll get notifications whenever I upload a new video. Thanks for watching, guys, and good luck fishing.